3 years ago, we issued Fanhome a challenge, and they took us up on it pretty immediately. And over the following 2 years, we would show you every stage and step of building this fully functional, half-scale R2D2. And even after we'd finished the final video showing all of its functions, a lot of you said, hey, but what about a year from now? Is it still working? And now here we are over a year later, when Fanhome happens to be re-releasing that R2 unit to answer the question, is it still worth it? Better stay tuned. This is your Geek Fix. It's hard to believe that it's already been over a year since we finished this. I think it's actually because of some of you out there that wanted to see this that we ended up being able to build it. And it was quite a process. I know a lot of you out there have said, well, I don't know if I could take 2 years to build something. And honestly, I mean, look at full R2D2 builds. They take years and years and years. He's listening to me. Stop. No, come back. I keep saying his name and then he thinks I'm talking to him, telling him what to do. So I gotta be careful about that. But at the same time, the most common comment is, I don't think I could take 2 years to build that. When you look at it, most R2 units, when people build them, they take actually years to build. This was 2 years, and honestly, this is a kind of intense build. I know that in the beginning, it kind of goes step by step. We do some small parts. Some people wrote, hey, I don't get it. You know, like you put in like 2 greeblies and that's it. And that's true. Near the beginning, they kind of baby step you into everything. The next thing you know, you're putting in tons of wiring and building structures and doing things that on screen looked like they were fairly quick, but honestly, it was a lot of screws, a lot of bits and pieces that took me actually hours to put together. The dome, for example, is a lot of work. And so doing it in parts, I think for your own mental health is probably a good idea. And also keeping track of everything as you're building it. While I built this, before I ever even thought about it, I had watched a lot of other individuals like World of Wayne, and I knew that they all said it's like this big emotional thing when you finally finish it. And I'll say that's very true, because even though as you're going along, they have you testing every little working part. They send you all these test kits to be able to make sure that the LCDs work, that the projector works. You know, you get to see different things happen as you're putting it together. But even then, I know on that very last stage of the build, you're connecting multiple wires and you're plugging things in, and there's that thought that goes through your head that there's going to be one thing wrong. There's going to be one thing wrong, because it would only take one thing and then he's not going to work. You know, if I didn't follow the instructions right, which I did have a little problem with that, but at the same time, following the instructions right, then, you know, what if he doesn't turn on? And I remember, first off, I messed up and I left the switch turned off that's down at the bottom. And so he didn't turn on initially. Once when I figured out the right way, order to do things, so that threw me off. And then when I finally did it right, if I did it right, it's going to do something. And he started up. I was about ready to cry. I mean, it was a very emotional experience. I just couldn't believe it. And everything worked. Everything worked. Everything looked great. Okay. Oh, hello. And I was really excited about it. I also took him to my work. I took him actually all over the place. I've had the opportunity now actually to start to build or have built multiple models. So we have, aside from R2D2, also done Iron Man, the Back to the Future DeLorean, the Enterprise D, the Mustang Shelby, and the Millennium Falcon. But so far, this has been the one that when people come over, or if I'm going to show it off, this is the one I've probably shown off the most, because he does things. I mean, amazing things. One of my coworkers said, oh, you really built it. He's an actual R2. And I agree. Even when I did that first video and I was going through talking about his features, I remember there's a point where he turned to me and was watching me. He was following my head and things. And since then too, every time I interact with him, he will start to do things. Even while I've been trying to film this video, he'll just suddenly start chirping at me and looking at me, and he'll complain sometimes. Like, he has an attitude at times. On other occasions, like, he does these little things that almost seem sweet. I was walking around my house instead of our kitchen, and he followed me into the kitchen and stood there, and I just thought, well, this is so weird, because in my mind I'm having a hard time believing he's not really, you know, R2. So yeah, it's yeah. And so oh yeah, he's following me right now. See, look at that. If I turn my head now, if I turn too far, he does something that's funny too. He'll zip around if I get out of his. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Look at that. He's doing it on his own. So yeah, he has facial recognition, and he can actually follow your face, so you can talk to him. It's very cool. At any rate, I'm going to take you through some of the features and show you how well they're still working, and also try to answer some of your questions that you've had for me since that time. So the first thing I'm going to be doing, though, is I'm going to turn him off like this. And there he goes. Okay. So step one, we're going to turn him on and see what happens here. So in order to do that, I'm going to push and hold this button right here, which is his power button. And by the way, all the instructions, all of the functions, these buttons, we put a little sticker in here that actually has those functions next to it. So if you forgot over time what each thing does, it does have that little reminder there. So I'm going to go ahead and push this bottom button, and I'm going to hold it for a second. He'll jot forward. His head turns around like so. He'll turn back the other way. And now you can see right here, we get the arms right here clap a little bit to let you know he's ready to go. He also whistles to let us know he's ready to go. And at this point in time, now the only thing is that people have commented on, and you're right, there are features that are only on or work when you're connected to his controller, to his phone. I do have a phone that I've dedicated actually to R2. That way I can keep it forever. I'm going to keep, you know, no matter what happens, I know that app is pretty good. Which is kind of one of the next steps. Now that he's turned on and he's got that light flashing up here, it indicates that now he's ready to be connected to my app. So, you know, I've got my app right here. I'm going to push that R2 app, and that will take me into now my phone for the next mode. Next, what I need to do is I need to connect to him, and so I'm going to push this connection button up here. And I'm going to go to my Wi-Fi settings. What I'm going to be selecting actually is his Wi-Fi, which has popped up right here. I'm going to go hit that R2 router. Once when it connects, he lets me know. And then, even though I've done that part, now the next part is I've connected to his server, but now I need to connect to him. And so, yep, as you can see, I'm already connected to him. It says R2D2 router. It shows me the battery level on my, that is, I think the battery level of R2 is right there. 89%. Whoop, 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 whoop. Don't go anywhere. Hang on there, R2. Can you stop? Just hang on for me. Just wait. I'm trying to give a demonstration to people, and you're making it very difficult. No, you are. You're making it very difficult. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So right now he's actually somehow I put him into Sentry mode. All right, here we go. I put him into manual. Whew. Gee whiz, man. So now I can go into my app and I can make it do some different things. So I have two types of controls. We have head controls, we have body controls. So let's say I want to turn the head, I can turn the head. Or if I want to turn his body a little bit, let's see here, which direction is that? That way. I can do that, and without too much of a problem. And then on top of that, what I can do is there's all these things on the right hand side. So there are some features that are turned off when he's not connected to the phone that you actually have to turn on using your control. I will say once when they're turned on and he's on, it doesn't matter if I'm connected to the controller, I've come to find. So I'm going to go ahead and go to those first. So I got short LCD and long LCD. So I'm going to hit short LCD and long LCD now. So you can see there is that long LCD in the back. You saw those 2 short LCDs that are in the front. It's very cool. Some of the different features he has. Now you can turn them manually, like you're using some type of joystick. Both his head and his body, make him move around that way. You can also do some more automatic things. If I click those right now on the table, he'll go off my table. So I'm not going to click those ones. But he can do things like turn around, go forward, shake his head. We can do that one on here. Wow, that's a full-blown shake all the way over. Okay. Make him dance. That one he can't do on here. Lightsaber. We can make the lightsaber go up. Right there. This lightsaber, if you want to go back and watch, we actually built this lightsaber live in our live chat. And it is a half-scale Luke's lightsaber that we built on that occasion. Sliding that back in there. And then when I push this lightsaber, it goes back down. The hologram is pretty neat. We have 2 holograms that we can choose from. Hologram 1. Which he's playing on my hand right there. And wow, and hologram 2.
As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift. These 2 droids. Both are hardworking and will serve you well.
Even with these bright lights on, I could actually see him. I really thought originally the only way we would be able to see either of those holograms was in the dark. And true, in the dark they were really awesome. But even during the day, I mean, I've done it in sunlight and daylight with lights on, and you can still see the hologram. It's pretty amazing. It's something that wows people if you don't tell them in advance. It really takes them off guard. What are you doing, man? We can make him talk. And there's a long list of things that we can have him do as far as that goes. Oh, this one. So yeah, there's a lot of different sounds that he can make. The next thing is the arms, which when I push on that button, you can see they extend. They can go back in. Another thing that's cool with that is when I extend my arms, I can open up everything if I want to. So I can open these up. He has all these cool little tools that are in here. So oh, and then let's open up the lightsaber. There we go. So everything's kind of like popped open. You can have him in that mode where he looks like he's been blasted open or he's gone kind of crazy. And he'll function and move around like that as well. And then it has a patrol mode, which I also can't do on my table. Basically, he can go around, sense his environment. Sentry mode is basically another... Oh, don't go into sentry mode, please. You do have to be a little careful what you say around him because he'll want to do things. But at the same time, that allows him to actually walk around. He can sense the environment, figure it out. He likes that. He can follow you. He can follow the phone if you want to. He will follow voice prompts. And all that. One thing we haven't talked about that's very cool also, we recently had some visitors that came and stayed with us, and I thought it was pretty cool. I had him sitting around, and in the other room, using my phone, we can switch the mode of our controller. And so I can actually now, I can push this back button. We can actually switch to video control. And in video control mode, look at that. So I can see my hand. See, because of weird lighting in here and stuff, he's getting a lot of ambient light, so it looks a little grayer than normal. But this allows me to then be able to do things where I can see whatever I do, even from quite a ways away. And so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I just barely disconnected my phone by accident, and everything kept working on him. So like I said, outside of it turning off the control itself, other things that I was able to turn on using the control keep working. And he does. He continues to work. What about when he sits around for a while? The battery could run down technically. What I've actually come to find out is it's not that his battery is dead, or batteries that we put into one battery essentially through a circuit. A lot of times all I have to do is plug in and just kind of reset them like we did the first time. And when you do that, he's good to go again. I think when he's just idle for a little while, that's something that happens. When I check the battery, honestly, I mean, I've been sitting here for a while. We've been doing some different things. I also took him outside and did some stuff, and I'm still in the 80s for my percentage. So that's pretty good. My phone has actually lost more power than he has during that time. But don't go doing something. It is funny that in the time we've been sitting here, he's made multiple attempts to do his own thing or to take off, things like that, or he's going off script. I like that about him because it makes him more realistic, and he really is making essentially decisions, following certain decision trees. But at the same time, it does feel like he has a personality. I often feel he's kind of like a puppy, honestly. Like he has to have room to run around, be able to, let him do his own thing at times. So yeah, is he worth it? I would say yes. Still, a year after building him, or over a year after building him, continues to work great. Has a lot of really cool features. There's nobody I've met that I've shown this to that this doesn't wow, including people that have never liked or seen Star Wars. Even they are like, what? That's crazy. You built that? I mean, technically I put it together. I didn't invent him or anything like that, but still, it's like a car that you get, you're proud to show them off. But as I mentioned, I didn't know that the first round of the release of this R2 had actually ended, and now Fanhome is re-releasing R2 for you to be able to purchase and to put together like I did, and I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna actually put them together again. I'm not gonna go through all the stages like we did before. Those videos are out there. You can watch every stage, and I encourage you, if you're considering this, to do that. You'll be able to see what it's like putting them together. I will encourage you to follow the instructions more carefully than I did, and maybe be a little bit more organized. But at the same time, the one thing that I was leery to do, that they actually tell you about in the final manuals, they tell you about being able to weather him, as well as some paint apps that they have. And so I'd hate to try and do it now that he's all put together. I think it would just be something that would be a lot easier to do when I can spray those parts and treat those parts as I go along. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get those blues, that that classic style blue that there's so many theories about out there. You can check them all over the internet. I actually got to be able to talk to Adam Savage this year. I'm gonna use his application. And I'm hoping to hear what your experience is as you put together your own. Or for those of you that are out there, I know many of you have actually written this as we've gone along. How many people out there that have already built this have it? Go through and watch the videos just to relive that experience. I mean, that testifies a lot to what it's like to be able to put them together. Also, Fanhome is giving us the opportunity to be able to visit them at New York City Comic Con. And so we're hoping to share some very exclusive information with you in October. So stay tuned for that. Now, I want to thank Fanhome for providing these parts. Also, if you're interested in actually purchasing this model, enter the promo code R2D2 USA2. Don't want to wait 2 years? There's also a 12-month option. Also, don't forget to check out our Iron Man build and other big videos that we got on the way. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment below. This is your Geek Fix.